A man lies dying of lung cancer. His brother lives 10 minutes away. They haven't spoken in 40 years. When death finally comes, the brother refuses to attend the funeral. These weren't strangers. They built a billion-dollar empire together. They survived 2 world wars together. They shared the same parents, the same childhood, the same dreams. Today, their companies, Adidas and Puma, are worth $35 billion combined. If they'd stayed together, they might have crushed Nike and owned the entire sports industry. Instead, they spent 4 decades trying to destroy each other. And the craziest part? Their hatred was so intense, it split an entire German town in half. Kids couldn't date someone from the wrong side of the river. Families stopped speaking. People looked at your shoes before deciding whether to say hello. This is the story of how one of the greatest business partnerships in history became one of the most expensive family feuds ever, and why the real winner was an American company from Oregon that nobody saw coming. Germany, 1920s. 2 boys delivering laundry through a devastated post-war economy. Their father works in a shoe factory, barely making ends meet. Their mother runs a small laundry service to keep food on the table. Adolf, everyone calls him Adi, is the younger brother. Quiet, obsessive, he's fascinated by athletics and notices something everyone else missed. Athletes don't have specialized shoes. Runners, jumpers, sprinters, they all wear the same basic footwear. He sees opportunity. Rudolph, called Rudy, is the opposite, charismatic, confident, natural salesman. Where Adi sees products, Rudy sees people. When World War I ends and their mother's laundry business collapses, Adi makes a decision that changes everything. He's going to make specialized athletic shoes. There's just one massive problem. Germany is broke. No money, no materials, no electricity in their town because the war destroyed the power grid. So Adi does something remarkable. He scavenges old battlefields, collecting scrap leather from abandoned helmets, string from broken parachutes, anything usable. He rigs a bicycle to power his equipment, having friends pedal to generate energy while he works. It's improvisation at its finest. By 1924, the shoes are selling. Adi's relentless perfectionism creates surprisingly durable products. Rudy sees the potential and quits his job. They launch the Dassler brothers' sport shoe factory. Adi handles product, Rudy handles sales. They're perfect complements. For the next decade, business grows steadily. Rudy convinces football clubs across Germany to try their boots, often giving away free pairs because he knows quality sells itself. Then, 1933 arrives. Hitler seizes power. Everything changes. The Nazi regime starts heavily promoting sports and physical fitness. Demand for athletic shoes explodes. Both brothers join the Nazi Party. Historical debate continues about whether this was survival or genuine support, but what's undeniable is their business thrived. Then comes 1936. Germany is hosting the Olympics. Hitler wants to use it as propaganda to demonstrate supposed Aryan superiority to the world. The games will be televised. The first time ever. Global audience. Unprecedented marketing opportunity. Adi has his eye on one specific athlete, Jesse Owens, an African-American sprinter, already famous, already favored to win gold. Here's where it gets interesting. Sponsoring Owens is dangerous. Hitler is trying to prove white racial supremacy. Supporting a black athlete winning gold medals directly contradicts that narrative. But Adi doesn't care about politics. He cares about performance. He finds Owens at the Olympic Village, shows him custom-designed running spikes, convinces him to wear them. Remember, this is 1936. There are no massive endorsement deals. Athletes are just happy to get quality equipment. Jesse Owens wins 4 gold medals, wearing Dassler shoes. Hitler is furious. But for the Dassler brothers, marketing gold. Orders flood in from around the world. A tiny German factory becomes an international name practically overnight. Success breeds tension. Rudy feels his sales efforts aren't getting enough credit. Adi thinks Rudy doesn't appreciate the product craftsmanship. Small resentments start accumulating. World War II breaks out. Every German business must contribute to the war effort. The Dassler factory stops making athletic shoes and starts manufacturing boots and weapons for Nazi soldiers. Adi, as the manufacturer, runs wartime production. Rudy grows paranoid that his brother is pushing him out. The brothers invest in a property together, Both families end up living in the same house. They're together constantly. The resentment is boiling over. One night, Allied bombers attack their town. Adi and his wife rush to the basement shelter where Rudy and his wife are already hiding. As Adi enters, he mutters, "The bastards are back again." Adi later claims he meant the Allied bombers. Rudy is convinced the comment was directed at him and his wife. Whatever brotherhood remained died in that basement. Soon after, Rudy is called to the front lines, while Adi stays behind operating the factory. From the battlefield, Rudy sends a letter claiming Adi doesn't have the character to lead the company. He demands his wife represent his interests. Adi refuses. The hatred escalates. Rudy reports Adi to Nazi authorities, claiming he's hoarding leather. Adi is arrested and interrogated. After the war, the Americans begin denazification trials. Rudy is imprisoned for a year because of his Nazi involvement. While imprisoned, Rudy grows bitter that Adi isn't helping secure his release. Later, the Americans reveal Rudy's arrest came from an anonymous tip. Rudy becomes convinced Adi turned him in. When Rudy is finally released, it's Adi's turn to face trial for war profiteering. Rudy testifies against his own brother. Both are eventually cleared. But the damage is irreversible. There are rumors, never confirmed, of affairs, sabotage, betrayal. Truth became impossible to separate from anger. In 1948, after months of bitter negotiations, the brothers officially divide the company assets. Adi combines his nickname with his surname, Adi plus Das equals Adidas. Rudy initially calls his company Ruda, but quickly changes it to Puma. Their hometown, Herzogenaurach, gets divided. Adidas on one side of the river, Puma on the other. Over time, completely separate communities develop. Adidas families send their kids to Adidas schools, Puma families to Puma schools. Dating someone from the wrong side is considered betrayal. The town earns a nickname, the town of bent necks, because people constantly look down at each other's feet to know whether to speak or avoid each other. The only person who stays neutral? The mayor, who wears one Adidas shoe and one Puma shoe to public events. Both brothers are determined to dominate. The 1954 FIFA World Cup gives them the battleground. Rudy personally knows the German national team's coach. He tries negotiating for the team to wear Puma boots, but they can't agree on payment. Rudy assumes the coach will cave. He's wrong. The coach strikes a deal with Adi instead. Germany isn't expected to do well. They're playing Hungary in the final, a team undefeated in 4 years. But then it starts raining heavily. Adi's obsessive product innovation pays off. He designed adjustable cleats, boots with screw-in studs for better grip in wet conditions. As the pitch turns muddy, Hungary's players slip. Germany's players maintain perfect footing. Germany mounts an incredible comeback. Final score, 3-2. Germans call it the Miracle of Bern. The winning team wore Adidas. Demand explodes. Adi becomes a national hero. Rudy is devastated. The rivalry intensifies for decades. Both companies aggressively expand. Whatever one does, the other copies. Both recruit their sons, Horst for Adidas, Armin for Puma. Now it's a two-generation grudge match. By the late 1960s, both companies are hemorrhaging money through bidding wars over athlete sponsorships. They're outbidding each other to absurd levels, destroying profit margins. Before the 1970 World Cup, Horst and Armin make a secret pact. Neither will sponsor Pelé, the world's most famous footballer. He's off limits because they know competing for him would bankrupt both companies. So imagine Adidas's shock when they turn on the 1970 World Cup and see Pelé wearing Puma shoes. Right before kickoff, Pelé asks the referee to stop the match. Every camera focuses on him as he kneels and deliberately ties his Puma shoelaces. Perfect advertising. Puma had secretly signed Pelé for $125,000, breaking their pact. Pelé leads Brazil to victory. Puma boots become global bestsellers for years. The feud is back on, stronger than ever. Rudolf Dassler died in 1974 from lung cancer. Adolf refused to visit him, refused to attend his funeral. Adi died 4 years later in 1978. Both men are buried in the same graveyard but at opposite ends. Enemies, even in death. Their sons struggled without them. Under Horst, Adidas spent so much on sponsorships they nearly went bankrupt. Puma, under Armin, expanded recklessly trying to match Adidas's scale, sacrificing product quality. By 1989, both companies were on the brink of collapse. They sold to private investors. But here's the kicker. While Adidas and Puma spent decades destroying each other, an American startup from Oregon quietly built an empire. Nike, founded in 1964. They didn't just sponsor athletes, they built emotional brand narratives. Just do it wasn't a slogan, it was a lifestyle. By 1990, Nike surpassed Adidas in revenue. Fast forward to January 2026. Nike generates $46.3 billion annually. Adidas just posted record Q3 2025 revenue of $7.2 billion, their highest quarter ever, with full-year revenue hitting $27.3 billion. Puma, they're at $9.5 billion but struggling through a reset phase with declining sales. The global sportswear market is now worth $405 billion. By 2033, it's projected to hit $863 billion. Nike commands the largest share. Adidas is second. Puma is third. If the Dassler brothers had stayed together, they might have owned 30%, maybe 40% of that market. Instead, they burned billions fighting each other while Nike quietly won. Here's what this story teaches us. First, your biggest competitor isn't who you think it is. Adidas and Puma thought they were each other's threat. Nike proved them wrong. While they were fighting over German market share, Nike was building a global marketing empire. Second, short-term wins driven by ego create long-term losses. Every dollar spent outbidding each other for athlete sponsorships was a dollar not spent on innovation, customer experience, or market expansion. The Pelé deal? Short-term publicity. Long-term, it just burned cash. Third, personal relationships matter more than you realize. Adi and Rudy had complementary skills. Product genius meets sales wizard. Together, they could have dominated the industry. Instead, resentment poisoned everything. Fourth, grudges compound. The Dassler brothers spent 40 years hating each other. 40 years of opportunities missed. 40 years of innovation delayed. 40 years of market share lost. All because neither could let go. In 2009, 61 years after the split, Adidas and Puma finally made peace. They organized a friendly football match where employees played on mixed teams. The CEOs played side by side as a show of solidarity. But walk through Herzogenaurach today, and you'll still see the division. Families still identify as Adidas families or Puma families. The river still separates the headquarters. People still remember the brothers who loved shoes more than they loved each other. Here's what Americans need to understand. This story isn't just about Germany, it's about us. Because while two German brothers were busy destroying each other, an American entrepreneur from Oregon, Phil Knight, was building Nike on a simple insight. People don't buy shoes. They buy inspiration. They buy identity. They buy the feeling of what they could become. Nike didn't win because they made better products. They won because they understood emotion. Because they focused on storytelling while Adidas and Puma focused on sabotage. Today, the US sportswear market alone is worth over $80 billion. American consumers drive global trends. American athletes define global culture. And an American company, Nike, sits atop the entire industry. But here's the warning. Nike is facing its own challenges. Revenue down 10% in fiscal 2025. New CEO Elliott Hill implementing win now turnaround strategies. Meanwhile, Adidas just posted their highest quarterly revenue ever, $7.2 billion in Q3 2025, with 12% growth. The lesson? Success is never permanent. Complacency kills empires. Whether you're two brothers in Germany or the world's largest sportswear company, the moment you stop innovating and start fighting internal battles is the moment someone else wins. The Dassler brothers had everything: revolutionary products, Olympic exposure, celebrity endorsements, first mover advantage in a rapidly growing industry. They lost it all because they couldn't forgive each other. Think about the opportunities they missed. The global sportswear market is projected to grow from $405 billion in 2025 to $863 billion by 2033. That's 9.9% annual growth. If the Dassler brothers had stayed united, they could have captured 30%, maybe 40% of that market. That's hundreds of billions in lost value. Instead, they spent billions trying to sabotage each other while Nike built an empire. Here's what you need to remember. Your real competition isn't across the river. It's not your brother. It's not even your industry rival. Your real competition is yourself, your ego, your inability to forgive, your obsession with being right instead of being successful. Adidas and Puma are both thriving today, but as separate entities worth $35 billion combined. Together, they could have been worth $100 billion or more. They could have been Nike, but they chose revenge over results. Pride over profit, hatred over harmony. Don't make the same mistake. The global sportswear market will keep growing. New companies will keep emerging. Technology will keep advancing. And somewhere out there, in a garage or a college dorm or a small apartment, the next Phil Knight is watching, learning, and preparing to build the next empire. The question is, will you be the Dassler brothers fighting yourself? Or will you be Nike, focused on the future? Because in business, like in sports, the biggest enemy is rarely the opponent across from you. It's the one staring back in the mirror. If you found value in this case study, subscribe for weekly breakdowns of the world's most important business stories. And if you want to see how Nike actually built their empire while everyone else was fighting, check out our next video. Drop a comment. Would the Dassler brothers have beaten Nike if they'd stayed together? Let's discuss. Thanks for watching. See you next time.